The U.S. men's national team kicks off its Gold Cup title defense in just a couple of days. So with that, in today's video, we're going to be doing a Gold Cup preview looking at our roster, some of my objectives for this tournament, our opponents, some players to watch, our U20s in the camp, and my predictions at least for the group stage. So we're going to get straight into the video, but before we do, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more. But yeah, let's go. Alright, so first up, we are looking at the roster, and at first glance, it's obviously a rotated team. It's not nearly our A team that we saw in the Nations League. There are a few players like Matt Turner, Miles Robinson, Sonora, and Sendejas that were on the Nations League roster, and I did kind of expect maybe a few more A-team players sprinkled in, but it is what it is. So in goal, we have Matt Turner, Sean Johnson, and Gago Sanina. Matt Turner is going to get the lion's share of the minutes, if not all of them. I would like to see Gago Sanina at least one of those group stage games against either Trinidad or St. Kitts. For our defenders, we have DeAndre Yedlin, Aaron Long, Matt Miazga, Brian Reynolds, Miles Robinson, Dwan Jones, Jalen Neal, and John Tolkien. So Miles Robinson is going to be the rock in that back line, and I'm really also looking forward to checking out Brian Reynolds and Dwan Jones, and hopefully Jalen Neal if he can get on the field. In midfield, we have Gianluca Buzio, Alan Sonora, James Sands, Christian Roldan, Georgi Mihailovic, and Aiden Morris. Not really the best midfield group. And for the forwards, we have Jesus Ferreira, Cade Carroll, Jordan Morris, Alex Sendejas, Brandon Vasquez, and Julian Gressel. So I do think Sendejas is going to be doing a lot of the heavy lifting in the attack. But there are a few guys who can score some goals against maybe lower competition in this tournament. But nonetheless, it's not the best roster, but it still should be able to at least get us in a position to make a decent run in the Gold Cup. Alright, so real quick, here's some of my objectives I have for the Gold Cup. It's to see if we can raise the floor at a few positions. I think we know coming in that a majority of these guys won't even sniff the senior team moving forward. But I think at the outside back, you might have guys like Dwan Jones, Reynolds, or Tolkien I think could compete and potentially push for that fourth fullback spot, because we know Sergino Dest, Anthony Robinson, and Joe Scally have those three locks. So if we're looking for this Gold Cup, might be a great opportunity for one of those guys to step in and stake one of those places. And then Georgi Mihailovic, I think, could potentially be a guy pushing for a spot, maybe as one of those backup 10s or even as a winger, because he's versatile and can play multiple positions. So I really want to see those three primarily if they can, take this opportunity by the scruff of the neck and be able to perform and potentially be on the senior team moving forward. And obviously win the Gold Cup. If you're the top dog in CONCACAF, even with the C team, you got to go out there and at least prove that you're still the top dog, even with a rotated team. That just shows your entire depth and you have a strong program. So winning the Gold Cup is obviously the priority. It's a trophy on the line. Alright, so looking at our opponents, first up we have Jamaica or Mamsia. Again, if you know, you know. If not, don't worry about it. But that's the first game in Chicago on Saturday. And on paper, Jamaica has a really good team. They have Leon Bailey, Damari Gray, Mikel Antonio, Bobby Reed, and Ethan Pinnock. So they have lots of players either playing in the championship or in the Premier League. But they also haven't had the opportunity to really play together. Their federation is kind of in shambles. So I think it's going to be a really good game. I'm really looking forward to that. I think BJ is going to set up this team to play well against them. But again, on paper, they're really good, so we got to watch out for them. I think St. Kitts and Trinidad and Tobago are a fairly similar level. Lots of local USL players, the few championship players sprinkled in. Those will be the latter two games in the group stage, and I think we should be able to win those pretty comfortably. We should be able to dominate the entire run of play, get a lot of chances, and again, be able to win all three of those games. But I think this is the first time we had a full Caribbean group stage, but nonetheless, really looking forward to it. Alright, and here are my four players I'm watching really closely in the Gold Cup, and I have Brian Reynolds, Dwan Jones, Georgi Mihailovic, and Alex Sendejas. So I want to start with Brian Reynolds and Dwan Jones because I think they're both two players, like I mentioned earlier, that can push to be that fourth fullback, being one of those, guys that raises the floor. So for me, Brian Reynolds had a really good season in Belgium, is still a big, physical, athletic defender, gets forward and needs to, has a pretty good cross, fairly technical. I just think there's still a lot of untapped potential in Brian Reynolds, and I think this tournament is going to be great for him to be able to show that. Dwan Jones has been a mainstay in MLS for quite a while now, and it's been pretty good in finally getting his opportunity to play consistent minutes for the U.S. So in my opinion, I think he's the best left back we have. I do think Tolkien is pretty good, but this will be a great opportunity for Dwan Jones. I think he's okay defending 1v1, okay. Not the best tracking his runners, but I think he's pretty decent going forward, has some pretty good pace, and is pretty good in combination. So I want to watch Dwan Jones as well. Georgi Mihailovic is finally getting his opportunity after about, a year where a bunch of fans have been calling for him. So this is one opportunity to get a lot of minutes in this Gold Cup, and he'll be one of the focal points in the attack. I think he's pretty technical, can play in the half space. I think just can get a lot of goals and assists in this tournament. Alex Sendejas for me is probably going to be the best player in this, or the best attacking player at least in this entire team. Didn't play at all in the Nations League, but he's pretty shifty, pretty quick, has a good left foot, can cross the ball pretty well. So I think a lot of our attacking sequences will go through him. So really looking forward to seeing these 4 players in the Gold Cup. Alright, so looking at some of the U20s in the camp, we have Gago Sonina, Jalen Neal, and Cade Cowell. I was a little bit disappointed because I felt like there could have been maybe a couple more U20s sprinkled into this camp. Say like a Jack McGlynn, Obed Vargas, Diego Luna, Caleb Wiley. I don't think there was anything wrong with adding them to the team to at least get maybe minutes off the bench. Maybe guys that have, I think, potential futures for the senior teams to get these minutes would have been great for their development. But nonetheless, we still have Gago Sonina at Chelsea right now. Hopefully he can get a loan this upcoming season. But I would love for him to get at least a game starting in the group stage against either Trinidad or St. Kitts. I still think he's got a pretty high ceiling. He's a pretty good shot stopper, but just glad he's in this camp. There's Jalen Neal. He's had a pretty good season so far with the Galaxy. He's still 19 years old, and that is really good for a center back. Really good on the ball, pretty good in the air, but again, he's still 19 years old. He's still going to make mistakes like we've seen in MLS so far. Is fairly air pro, not necessarily the most, clinical at times, picking out his passes into the midfield. But nonetheless, I still hope he gets in the field at some point in this Gold Cup, and I still think he could have a future with the senior team moving forward. And Cade Cowell is the last one, and I think he's pretty controversial. Some people are either really high on Cade Cowell or not that high on Cade Cowell. And for me, I'm not too crazy on Cade Cowell. I know he has really good athleticism, and he'll show some moments where he's like, dang, this kid could be pretty good. But I still think he's lacking a lot. Technically, I think there's a lot of moments where he relies too much on his pace and gets too far ahead of himself. I don't think he's going to start in this Gold Cup, but I do think it's possible. I think Jordan Morris will get the nod ahead of him, though. But he'll get significant minutes, I think, in the attacking, primarily at the winger positions, but we'll see. But at least glad that some of these guys could get opportunities in the Gold Cup. And finally, I have my predictions for the group stage. So against Jamaica or Mampsia, if you know, you know. If you don't worry about it. I have us winning 2-1. Jordan Morris scoring twice. Don't worry, I saw the script. It's going to happen. But regardless, I still think that Jamaica coming into this tournament, they haven't had those opportunities to gel as a team. I think BJ Callahan will have this team ready because that first game is going to be so important. It's going to set the entire tempo for both the group stage and the entire tournament. So I think we're going to come off the bat playing pretty well. And I'm going to be optimistic, so I'm going to say a 2-1 win. Against St. Kitts and Nevis and Trinidad and Tobago, I think we're going to win those games pretty comfortably. I do expect to rotate in the first game against St. Kitts coming off that Jamaica game, though. But just because I think the squad is at a pretty similar level between the players, rotating won't be too much of a problem. So I have a 4-1 against St. Kitts and Nevis. I have Vasquez, Cowell, and Aiden Morris. And I have us winning 4-1. And against Trinidad, it will probably be a similar story in both of these games. We should have a lion's share of the possession and be able to dominate the entire run of play. So I have Ferris scoring twice in that game. Sendejas, Mihailovic, and Reynolds also getting on the score sheet. So in my opinion, we should top this group stage. If we don't, I don't think it's going to be too big of a deal because Jamaica does have a good team. But we will get out of this group stage. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of if we finish 1 or 2. But I'm going to be optimistic and predict that we finish with 3 wins and on top of the group with 9 points. Anyway, guys, that's going to wrap it up for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Even though we brought not necessarily our best team, I'm still really looking forward to this tournament. Some competitive games, a trophy on the line. I get to evaluate some few new players. I'm looking forward to it. I'm optimistic. I think BJ Callahan will do a pretty good job going into this Gold Cup. But yeah, we just got to wait and see. So make sure to leave comments down below to let me know if you're excited for the Gold Cup. Let me know what you expect. But that's going to wrap it up for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.